Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Okay, this is like my fourth time filming this video, and there are like shadows now because the sun is starting to go down, and I'm getting this video done. I'm getting it done. Today we're gonna do the Birthstone Tag video, created by the one and only JG. So anyway, it was funny because the first time I recorded this video, my Alexa thing kept on going off, and it would say like, I don't know that, and all this kind of stuff. So I had to unplug it and redo it. Then the second time, I made a huge mistake. And what was that I said that Jay went in here and because like she had mentioned on my video, she was like, you still haven't done the Birthstone Book Tag video. Now, a little unknown fact, I love Jay. I have watched all of Jay's videos. She's like one of the very first friends that I made on BookTube when I started doing it. Okay, when did I start doing it? Well, that's an important part of this little story here. So I go in, and here is who she's tagged. Now, can you see? She has literally tagged like 60 people. And I'm like, well, Jay, if it was so important for you that I do this tag, why didn't you tag me in it? So then I said that in the video, like real jokingly. And so then I go to the top and I was like, oh, she posted this video on February 8th, 2016. And it occurred to me that I didn't even start my channel until May 11th of 2016. Therefore, she could never have tagged me because my channel didn't exist unless she was a fortune teller of the future, which I don't know. Is she? Is she not? So anyway, let's get right into this. I've literally done these answers up to like the fifth one, like 4 times now. So should we just get into this? Okay. I don't typically, when I do tags, I don't watch like the whole video all the way through. I just watch enough to make sure that I'm doing it correctly, but I don't want the person's answers to like affect my answers. So I always watch the video afterwards. So that's kind of how I go into it, because I don't like want it like, you know, if they say, oh, I don't know, let's just come up with, you know, Heartless by Marissa Meyer or something, then I'm afraid that like I'll say that in my video because it'll be in my head. Does that make sense? Because typically when I do tags, I do a lot of books that are like my all-time favorites, or I do books that I've recently read because those are the ones that are just in the top of my head. I rarely remember books that are just like random books that I read once in a blue moon, you know? Okay. Number 1, January. Associated with warding off negative forces and dark energies, name a book with the darkest, evilest character you can think of. Okay, so this is not a fictional character, but I'm going to say Charles Manson from Helter Skelter, because the book is so terrifying. He is so manipulative, so calculating. It is such a terrifying read to me that, and I'm actually reading it this month for a group read. I'm way behind, so it's going to be a November book read too. So, but anyway, he's terrifying to me, and whether it's fiction or nonfiction, I feel like it applies to the question. So that's my question. Number 2, February, Amethyst. Look at little Pee-Pee. He is so cute. He is like, are we doing a book tag, Dad? So anyway, number 2, Amethyst, February. Purple is associated with royalty. Name a book with regal qualities. You can base this off of characters or choose the king of all books. Well, the king of all books to me would definitely be To Kill a Mockingbird. It's my all-time favorite book, and just think it deserves that title. But when I think of like books that have a lot to do with royalty, I always go to Cinder from the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I've read a lot of retellings of fairy tales that have that kind of like old, you know, like, well, I haven't read like the Game of Thrones books and stuff like that, so I guess that would be very much of that too, that kind of like old school, like, you know, days. But old school days, like that sounds really ignorant, doesn't it? But when I think of royalty, I think of like princes and princesses and queens and kings and all that kind of stuff. And I think that Marissa Meyer does a very good job of retelling that, but like in a, I was just thought of another answer too, but she does it in such a fantastic way of modernizing it. I would also say The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. That book did too, like was very royal, very, very royal. If I had to go back, I would say that one first. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. If you haven't read that book, it's fantastic. Okay, number 3, March, Aquamarine. Washed out. Name a wishy-washy character, a character who is not strong or is a follower. I really disliked the book We Were Liars. I know some people love it by E. Lockhart. I did not. I did not find anything about it interesting. I thought it was extremely lengthy for no reason. I thought that the ending was a cheat, and I thought the main character was extremely wishy-washy and kind of had no clue what was going on. And people were like, I know, but that's the purpose, that's the point. Well, you know, when you love a book, a lot of times, I do this too, right? When we love books, we make excuses for inconsistencies or character flaws and things like that, which, okay, If it reads into being part of the character, that's fine. And if you love the book and the character because of those reasons, it worked for you, but it did not work for me. And I found the main character in We Were Liars to be very, very wishy-washy. I just didn't love her. So that would be the one for me. I don't even remember her name. Number 4, April. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. A Diamond in the Rough. Name a book that you loved but is not well known. Speed Queen by Stuart Onan. I love the author Stuart Onan. I've read everything by him except for one book. Everything he writes is completely different. If you're looking for a book for October, he wrote a book called The Night Country, which is about a group of teenagers who are killed in a car accident, and there are 2 survivors. The 2 survivors try to recreate the crash a year later because they feel like they should have all died in the car accident. I don't want to say any more about it. It's interesting why they feel that way. Every chapter is the title of a different horror movie, and it's told from like 4 or 5 different points of view. It's fantastic. Stuart Onan, everything he writes is completely different. Speed Queen is about a girl that gets hooked on methamphetamine. She ends up in prison for killing somebody. Is it an accident? Did it really happen? She sells the rights to her story to Stephen King, who happens to be Stuart Onan, the author's best friend, or one of his best friends, who he's also written something with. And so it's like her telling of how she got to the point of non-using to being a complete meth addict. Everything he writes is so out there and so different. Songs for the Missing is of a girl that's kidnapped. What other books does he have out there? Last Night at the Lobster is about a guy who is the manager of a Red Lobster, and it's last night, Christmas Eve, and he's closing the restaurant down, and it's very sad and melancholy. Nothing that he writes is like really like, like joyous, you know? It's very sad, but very real at the same time, and that's what I appreciate about it. It's like real, authentic, genuine characters. Stuart Onan, if you love that, you will love him. He's fantastic. Not young adult. He's definitely literary fiction. Whew. Okay. We must go on. Okay. I know that's not the same, but I'm not going to say the same. Okay. Number 5, Emerald May, said to balance energy. Name 2 characters who balance each other well. Hazel Grace and Augustus, Waters from The Fault in Our Stars, don't you think? I mean, they're so fantastic together. Also, from the Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, I would say the 2 main characters, Monty, and I can't even think of what his best friend's name is now, but in there, they balance each other very well. Okay. Number 6, but there's more to the story, so I don't want to ruin it for you. Okay. June, Pearl, that's me. That's also what Janis Joplin liked to be called. So you can call me Pearl. Okay, Pearl. Associated with loyalty, name a character who is loyal to the end. Well, I just finished reading Rhiannon Frater's As the World Dies series about zombies, and I would say Jenny and Katie, the 2 main characters, are like legit loyal to the very end. And if you read the series, you'll know why. I have never read a horror novel or a zombie novel or anything where I legit was bawling my eyes out. Bawling my eyes out over these friends. So anyway, such a great series. And not just about, I mean, if you love zombies, okay, but it's even 10 times better than all that. Number 7, July, Ruby, Blood Red. Name a book that made your blood boil, one that made you angry. Do I even need to mention that Mary Kay Nigchamp's, what's it called? This Is Where It Ends. No comment. Number 8, August, Peridot, Pale Green. It pales in comparison to other gems. Name a supporting character who you like better than the main character. Well, I don't know that I like it better than the main character, but I will tell you what was very interesting about Maggie Stiefvater's All the Crooked Saints that just came out was that if you haven't read it, like the Pilgrims kind of all like together play a character, and then like the Saints together all play a character, if that makes sense. But each character in there, it's like an ensemble cast, like in a movie. Like Best in Show or one of those movies where like there's no real main character. I mean, I guess Danielle would be like the main character, but not really. There's no like main character to it. And I thought it was fantastic how the book was like so beautifully written and so interesting, but like about so many different characters. You know, I was equally interested in even just the minor characters. Does that make sense? And they each played such a vital role in the book. So I kind of liked the idea that all of the supporting characters played a main character, if that makes sense. It was geniusly done. I think that if you just read it as a book, like as a young adult book, and you don't really read it for like the quality that it is, I mean, it is like award winning. I mean, it is really that good, you guys. I just really, and I'm really surprised that a lot of the reviews are not fantastic. Okay, number 9, September Sapphire. Blue like the ocean, which is calming. Name a book that had a calming effect on you. Oh, that's really good. Well, this is really strange, and I can never pronounce this guy. It's the guy that wrote The Alchemist, Paolo Cola. But I just read The Spy, which it's very short, and it's about the last days of the spy, Mata Hari. It was very calming to me because it was really about a woman who had tried her heart. Like, it was interesting, like, reading the comments about this book and people saying, like, if Mata Hari had, like, lived today, like, her story would be much different. Like, she would be seen as this empowered woman. But it was really the story that was kind of like about a woman who like had it all, like had fought for everything, and then kind of like was resigned to the fact of like, just like, this is my truth. And there was something about like aging in it. Like, I don't know that if I had read the book at 20, it would have meant as much to me as reading the book at 45, if that makes sense. But like, I related so much to it, where you just kind of get to a point where you realize like, okay, like, this is my truth. This is where I'm at in life, and this is how it is. And if you guys don't know the truth about Mata Hari, she was shot execution style. True story. And when she went, she wore her fur coat and her hat tied underneath her neck and everything like that. And in fact, had her hands to her side like this. And when they shot her, she stood completely still for literally like 30 seconds because they shot her, I don't know, like in the head or something. But like her body didn't react immediately. And so she just kind of stood there like she hadn't even been shot. And then her body just slowly crumpled to the ground. And it was just such a graceful death, even though she was seen as a traitor, which we will never know to this day whether or not she truly was or not. It was an extremely interesting book. It was extremely short, too. I loved it. So you guys should go check that out. Actually, somebody purchased that for me as an Audible gift, so I don't remember who that was, but thank you. It was one of my favorite books of the year. Number 10, Opal. I love that name. Iridescent. Name an iridescent book. This can be a book with a beautiful cover, shiny, lots of color, or you can base it off a character, quirky, colorful. Quirky or colorful? Well, I don't know. I went into Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy thinking that it was going to be about, it was about this girl that had blue hair and all this kind of stuff, and I thought it was going to be like really funny and different and whatever, and it was very like, the book was so endearing, and I think it was really about how even in the weirdest qualities, we're all just normal, we're all just alike, and I loved that quality about it, that I think that, like, I always say to people, stay weird, like, or I'm just one of those normal weird people, like Janis Joplin said. And I do believe that, but I think that when all of us find our inner weirdness is when we are kind of all similar and alike, right? And that is what I loved about the book so much. And it was interesting because the book is about her, like, I don't want to tell too much about it, but it's about her having these beliefs about herself that she, like, kind of unwinds and then like winds back together again. So it's like she has like this cathartic experience throughout the book where she thinks she's this person and then she unthinks that and then she thinks that again. I mean, she like redesigns her entire thinking throughout the book. It's geniusly done. It's so well done. I loved it. So Julie Murphy, if you haven't read Dumplin', that's first, but then Ramona Blue. Number 11, November, Topaz. I love that Alfred Hitchcock movie, by the way. Associated with resilience. Name a book with a character who rises to the top in a time of adversity. Oh, good one. Well, who is the main character, or the Ganesh in Six of Crows? I loved her. She was like the only reason I loved that book. I mean, I have to say, I did not love Six of Crows, okay? I did not love Kaz Brekker. He was not my favorite character. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Kaz, and all this kind of stuff. I did not love Kaz Brekker, but I did love her so much, right? And she kind of was always resilient when needed to, right? And I love those strong female characters in books. Also, I loved the fact that, like, it was never about her, like, ending up with Kaz and, like, setting up house. It was like she wanted to pay off her debt and be on her own, and she was going to have her own crew. Like, I love that about that, right? If you haven't read it, did I just ruin it for you? No, you have no idea what I'm talking about. The book is so confusing. Okay, number 12, December. The one, the last, the only. Blue Zircon. Associated with friendship. Name a book with a friendship you want to be part of. Oh my God, so many. Well, how about Harry, Hermione, and Ron from Harry Potter and any of them. So I love their friendship in there, especially Ron. Like I would love to be friends with Ron. He's just so cool, isn't he? I don't know why. Like I thought going into those books that I would love Hermione, but I am like an uber fan of Ron's. I don't know what it is about him. Like, am I a Ron? Like that's what I question myself like when I'm reading it. Like I'm like, am I a Ron? Is that why I like him so much as a character? Anyway, oh, that was a really fun tag. So everybody in the world's already been tagged. So I'm not gonna tag anybody in it, but if you have a tag that you would like me to do, please link it in the, tomorrow, in the, whatever, I was already on to the next video. Please link it in the, or please put it in the comment section below. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be doing my Spookathon wrap up, and then I'm gonna be talking also about the rest of October and what my plans are for reading. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.